Good evening. We'll call the meeting to order with the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, Mr. Lundberg.
Holm.
Yes.
Bodie is absent. Saxer?
Yes.
Scott?
Yes.
Bell?
Thank you. With that, I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
So moved. Second?
There's been a first and second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. No conflict of interest disclosure or waiver requests this evening. That takes us to our board minutes. We have two sets of regular meeting minutes from January 9th and January 23rd, and one from our special meeting on January 27th. If there are no additions or corrections, I would entertain a motion to approve those as presented.
So moved.
Second.
There's been a first and a second. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Community input, I don't think there's any tonight, this evening, so that takes us next to financial items, bills and claims. Mr. Lundberg.
Okay. I had just a couple noted on the bills and claims on page 7. At the top of page 7, Gilhaugen Construction, $608,000, brings a total paid to date of about $5.2 million, of a total of $8.8 million is the contract. So about 60% through on there. And then on page 14, I had a couple noted that SJO LLC and Split Rock Nursery, $28,000 and just under $6,000. That, and there was an earlier bill for equipment rentals. The total snow removal for this month was $41,500. That's pretty much all of the snow removal budget, so it can't snow anymore, right? Total bills, $1,323,000. Advance payments breakdown was of $7,400 is listed. $68,000 of pay vouchers. A lot of substitute teaching, $156,000 of food service bills.
If there are no questions on the bills and claims, I would entertain a motion to approve those as presented tonight.
So moved. Second?
There's been a first and a second. All of those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Financial report, Mr. Lundberg.
Okay, the cash report for the month of January, $14.1 million coming into the month, $2.7 million of receipts, and $4.7 million of disbursements, left just over $12 million, $12.1 million. $7,392,000 in the general fund, $3.3 million in the capital outlay fund, $1.3 million in the special education fund, and $76,000 in the enterprise fund. $2.7 million is itemized on the next two pages. I didn't have anything noted there. The investment report of $2 million for your review. The payroll report for the month of January, $2,385,000 total payroll. Just a little bit less than our so-called normal payroll of $2.5 million due to the holidays. Then on the financial reports, the first two pages are the revenues. We're through January, it's 58.3% of the fiscal year completed. You can see the numbers there. I don't have anything standing out that would alarm me or anything. And I did just, since we're in the budget cycle, I picked out a couple things that in the next couple months I'll just talk about a little bit that we don't really talk about during the budget hearing. On the revenue side, I had a notation of the fees that we charge our students or our patrons for ball games and stuff. They don't get a lot of notoriety, but they're a big part of our budget. Admissions amount to a total of about $130,000 we charge to get in the games. My neighbor told me that he went to Marshall, Minnesota the other day for the basketball game, and it was $8 to get in the game, so he thought it was quite a deal there. Busing fees, we receive $170,000 of those. High school parking, $70,000. And then for our laptops for the middle school and high school, the insurance program that we run, we receive $65,000. So it's a total of $535,000 of fees that we collect from our patrons and our students, which is a very minuscule part of our total budget of 36 million, 1.5%. But 535,000 is a substantial number, and it definitely helps to support our budget throughout the year. That's 7 teachers. So I just thought I'd note that. On the expenditure side, the general fund is running at 57.5. Once again, I said it's about 58.3% of the fiscal year complete. This seems to be trending at about a 0.5 to 1% under budget for the year, which would be $200,000 to $300,000 under. Capital outlay fund is 56% complete. That's running a little low just due to the major project, the $9.3 million for the high school addition. Special education fund is at 54%. The bond redemption fund is at 95%. Food service statement shows a accrued net loss of just under 100,000 versus the budgeted net loss of 260,000, so right in line halfway through the fiscal year. And the trust and agency report has $243,341 of amounts held for others.
Any questions for Mr. Lundberg this evening on the financial report? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to approve it as presented, please.
So moved.
Second.
There's been a first and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Lundberg.
Thank you.
General business, our first item, administration reports, administrative center, Superintendent Larson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Prior to getting into the superintendent's report this evening, we do want to recognize the Brandon Valley Board of Education for their service in connection with Associated School Boards of South Dakota. February 20th is the week of School Board Appreciation Week. We want to thank our board members for their leadership and service within our community schools. And on behalf of Associated School Boards, as well as the Brandon Valley School District, we have supplied each of you board members with a certificate of recognition. So while it's a little premature in terms of it being Board Recognition Week, we do want to say thank you prior to that and look forward to celebrating that the week of February 20th. So thank you so very much for all of your valuable service. With that, I would get into the board report component of what I have to share. No changes in terms of the pipeline component. I would note that we have applied for and been approved party status. At this point in time, we continue to monitor the respective filings from both parties and have the questions answered that are currently being posed by what would be the landowner's attorneys, and then the pipeline company submits said response back. I am learning that it is extremely formal in terms of procedures and processes. It is the equivalent of judicial proceedings, so everything has to be submitted through a very standardized process, and then any responses are vetted and you're served the information that is received. And anyway, so it's a bit of a learning process, and we continue to monitor. Superintendent evaluation, I would note that within an envelope I have supplied each Board of Education member with the evaluation tool. If you would please complete that tool here over the course of the next few weeks individually, and then supply your individually completed evaluation tool to President Ullem. She will work to combine those respective results, and we will discuss that in March. Budget process, again, we continue to talk about the budget process. Mr. Lundberg referenced being in that budget cycle. It really kicks up in December, but now we really begin to work through that respective process. Anticipate the presentation of the 5-year plan occurring at our next meeting or the last meeting in February. And then in the month of March, we will bring forward our administrative recommendation for new staffing positions, as well as the preliminary capital outlay budget presentation that will require your approval. Again, that's necessary so that the big ticket items that have to be bid out, or we have to go through the respective procurement process as required by the feds or by the state, we can do that in a timely manner. And all of that obviously has impacts on what we're able to do with the remaining portion of the capital outlay budget. You'll have a preliminary budget presentation in May, and then I would anticipate a public budget hearing to occur at our annual meeting in July. Negotiations, timeline and wage recommendation, just want to note a couple of items for the Board of Education to be aware of. Administratively, we will meet with the BVEA for our pre-negotiations meeting here on March 20th. On March 23rd, myself and Mr. Lundberg will meet with the Personnel Welfare Committee. I believe that is Member Saxer and Member Ullum. So we will be meeting with you at that point in time to go over what we have and what recommendations we have and work through that process. And then at our March 27th Board of Education meeting, we collectively as a whole board will sit down with Mr. Lundberg and myself in preparations for negotiations. I would note that that does occur in executive session. So that will happen on March 27th. And then we have our first scheduled meeting with the Brandon Valley Education Association on Wednesday, March 29th. We have additional dates scheduled out if necessary and go from there. All of these respective dates were communicated to the individuals prior to and have been agreed upon. So if everything goes as planned, you can expect to see us ratify our master contract on Tuesday, April 11th. So that's my little hint of, remember, the April board meeting, the first meeting in April, is on a Tuesday as opposed to a Monday because of the Easter holiday. So that's a tentative timeline that we have laid out for negotiations. Legislative update, Associated School Boards, school administrators of South Dakota, as well as our large school group provide us information regarding our status and the current situation in terms of legislation. I don't go into great detail about this bill and that bill, and we need to oppose this and support this because, quite frankly, ladies and gentlemen, things move so fast and change so quickly that to try and inform you of that every other month would just not be feasible. But I would point you to Associated School Boards of South Dakota and their bill tracker for a real good, high-quality resource for you if you have a level of interest in what bills are still out there or what's transpiring with those. Certainly appreciate our representatives having an open phone line and always willing to chat through the educational issues when we have them. I only call when it's important, so I do really appreciate their open dialogue when it is necessary. March 31st, our in-service, we previously noted that we are bringing in an outside speaker for our certified staff as well as our classified staff. And we are still working through the process in finalizing our classified staff participation and training in the alternative to when the certified staff is at the inspirational speaker. So our classified staff will receive a number of training opportunities in addition to the motivational speaker. So look forward to that opportunity. There's no school. February 17th and 20th, it's our President's Day break. Parent-teacher conferences are coming up on March 13th and March 14th respectively. There is no school scheduled for March 17th, as well as no school scheduled for March 31st for in-service. With that, we'll get into the high school addition update. No update regarding the schedule. All of that remains as outlined. Priorities obviously do not change. It's really beginning to take shape and take form in terms of what that outside or exterior footprint will look like. Truly appreciate our high school administration's work regarding our bus loop and keeping that bus loop free of student, staff, and just general traffic during our AM and PM drop-off. We appreciate those efforts, all while still noting that folks need to remember not to use those during the AM and the PM drop-off and pickup. So appreciate their work on that. In terms of Area A, exterior masonry work continues. I would also tell you that windows are in progress. That's something that you'll see that is probably the newest or one of the newest developments. The window frames are going in, so those respective frames are going in, and then you'll see glass here in the coming weeks as well. Area A, the roof construction, in terms of having the membrane down, you can see that they have battled the snow, and you can see the membrane laid in Area A in terms of the roof. Here's a shot of interior construction. As you can see, steel stud walls, insulation going in, and then obviously the sheetrock is there and being prepped to be put up. Again, Area A, interior construction in progress. Area B, masonry is in progress, as well as you can see the precast concrete has been put up in much of Area B. There is also some additional precast concrete that goes in Area C that is not up, but the Area B masonry is in progress as we speak. And then Area B, interior construction is in progress. As you can see here, they had just poured that respective flat work for the concrete. This is again Area B facing southward, exterior masonry work, and you can see that precast concrete that comes up to that entrance, which basically splits the difference between Area B and Area C, the two-story portion. Area B, interior concrete work. Again, they are getting all of that prepped up, and interior concrete work is ongoing in Area B. Area B roof construction is in progress. Again, Area B, it's towards the north end of Area B. You can see the decking is down. Still have to put down the membrane, correct, yep, thank you. And then Area C, structural steel and steel stud construction is in progress, continues to progress. I would anticipate we'll start to see some decking work in Area C as well in the near future. So Area C, steel stud and structural steel, as well as decking in progress. Again, same respective image. I think they almost got to the north corner of that here today when I drove over. I thought it was almost all studded out. So that work continues. Madam Chair, with that, that is all I have. I would certainly answer any questions that you have.
Thank you very much, Superintendent Larson. Mr. Lundberg, anything additional tonight? Okay. High school, Mr. Schleckaway? Mrs. Moore or Mr. Paula? No? Middle school, Dr. Nelson? Mr. Rothenberger? Intermediate school? Oh, thank you.
No, I just wanted to speak quickly. Saturday, our sixth grade band went to the Bandmasters, and they auditioned last year, were accepted and played on Saturday, and probably I don't know if it was the space or whatever, but probably the best I've heard that sixth grade band play since I've been here. Was pretty impressive, did a wonderful job. Kids are up at 6 in the morning, buses and all that stuff, and Mr. Moody and Henschel helping us get all that stuff on a Saturday, but did a very, very nice job. And then afterwards, just talking to all the other directors that were there and asking what we do here. It was kind of fun. I know the high school performed Friday morning and was an outstanding performance, and I was able to speak on the foundation that we lay in the intermediate school and then how we build that up. So that was exciting for our kids and did a really nice job, and it was a fun Saturday morning.
Thank you.
On a second with that, you did a great job introducing as well. And also with the other band directors up there, I know I talked to quite a few. They said the representation of the crowd was the biggest that they had all weekend. So very good following, so very impressive.
And to the support that went up there, obviously, Mr. Skipstead, you went Dr. Larson, I know you took the time that went, we had many parents that reached out to say how much that meant to them. So thank you for taking the time, and as well as all the staff that has put their time in. That's not just at the intermediate school, I know that happens everywhere, but that was something that was very much a public appearance that many saw. So thank you for the time that is put in.
Thank you. Mr. Pearson, anything? Mrs. Otime? No. Ms. Foster or Mrs. Hofkamp or Mr. Horst or Mrs. Mudd or Mrs. Palmer, anything? No. Mrs. Nelson, anything tonight? Mr. Henschel? And Mr. Farkane, I don't think is here either. He's busy. Okay. All right. No board policy, so that takes us to general business items, our consent agenda. I would entertain a motion to approve items 1 through 3 as presented, please.
Second.
There's been a first and a second. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Personnel, I would entertain a motion to approve items 1 through 12 as presented, please.
So moved.
There's been a first and a second. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Under Communications Central Office, there are some building permit applications for your review, if you'd like to look at those. And Board of Education, a couple thank you notes there for your review. With that, for board reports, are there any formal board reports tonight that anyone would wish to share?
Just something real quick. To Dr. Larson's point, there's been a lot of House bills, things that have moved very quickly. It's not worth bringing a lot of it to public mention. But there is one, just to bring to a thought, if you have time. House Bill 1234, hard to forget, 1234, that is potentially dangerous. It does have some legs on it. It gives direct vouchers to parents to send their kids to private schools. There are some great private schools in our area, nothing against that, but it's hard to argue that they'd be any better than sending them here to Brandon Valley. So we just want to say, if you have time, to send a quick note to any of our members that are in our house, to let them know that we would directly oppose those vouchers being sent to sending kids to private schools. We want to make sure that our education money stays with public schools. That's what it's there for, and we don't want to divide those funds up. So we just want to know that it would be very dangerous if we start sending that money to public schools, because that state money is for public. So House Bill 1234, if you forget, I can send that to you.
Anyone else tonight have a board report? We did have a wellness meeting, and I think that you guys are in the middle of doing a Cupid shuffle.
Sounds right.
Kind of. So have fun with that, and
We're shuffling like Cupid.
I bet you are. You eat a lot of chocolate tomorrow, so that's gonna ruin that for one day, but Valentine's Day. Yeah, we celebrated at our house too. Okay, okay, we're totally off topic here now. Phew. All right, with that, we are at the end of our agenda. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
There's been a first and second. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you.